The massive Galactic Council vessel darkens the sky above Manhattan as it descends through the clouds. 17 species, ruling uncontested for millennia, have arrived to welcome Earth into their fold. Dr. Elena Martinez stands on the landing platform, her diplomatic team behind her, watching the sleek crystalline ship that houses Ambassador Zorthal of the Veltraxian hegemony. The terms seem generous at first glance. Technological advancement, medical breakthroughs, and interstellar travel knowledge. All humanity needs to do is accept a brief 300-year probationary period under Council supervision. Elena reads the document carefully, the wind whipping her hair as the Council delegates wait with practiced patience. They've done this 17 times before. No species has ever declined. Ambassador Zorthal, Elena says, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. Earth appreciates your offer, but we must respectfully decline these terms. The translator device falters, as if the concept of rejection cannot be processed. Zorthal's 6 eyes blink in rapid succession, his silver skin flushing deep purple. Perhaps you misunderstand, he says slowly. This is not a negotiation. This is how species join galactic society. Elena stands her ground. Then perhaps Earth isn't ready for your version of galactic society. The silence that follows is deafening. Behind Elena, UN Secretary General Diallo steps forward, her expression calm but resolute. We welcome cultural exchange and technological cooperation, but Earth will maintain its sovereignty. Ambassador Zorthal's appendages perform a complex gesture that his species recognizes as indicating extreme confusion. The Council's records covering 12,000 years contain no precedent for this response. His diplomatic programming falters. You would reject the knowledge of the stars, medical technologies that could extend your lifespans threefold, energy systems that would end your resource conflicts. His voice carries genuine bewilderment. Dr. Raju Patel, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, studies the delegation closely. He leans toward Elena, whispering, "They truly cannot comprehend rejection. Look at their posture. This isn't negotiation tactics." Elena nods slightly before addressing the ambassador again. "We desire these advancements, but not at the cost of human self-determination. Surely we can establish relations that respect both our species' needs." The secondary Veltraxian delegate, a being with more ornate body modifications denoting greater age and status, moves forward. In 12 millennia, no emergent species has possessed the arrogance to dictate terms to the Council. "It's not arrogance," Elena replies. "It's simply our nature. Humans have always valued freedom above comfort." The delegation confers in rapid, clicking communications that human translators can only partially process. Words like aberrant, unpredicted, and protocol violation filter through. Ambassador Zorthal finally turns back to the human delegation. "The Council will require consultation on this. Unprecedented response. We shall withdraw to lunar orbit and await instructions from the Central Authority." As the crystalline ship rises into the clouds, Elena's team erupts into anxious discussion. Only she remains silent, watching the vessel until it disappears. General Zhang approaches her, his expression grave. What happens when they return? Elena turns to him, her eyes reflecting both determination and concern. "They believe we've made a mistake because we don't understand the universe, but I suspect they've made a mistake because they don't understand humans." From the observatory at Mauna Kea, astronomers track the Council vessel as it rejoins a much larger fleet hidden on the far side of the moon. Within hours, Earth's intelligence agencies intercept and decode transmissions between the ship and distant stars. The message is simple: anomaly detected. Humanity requires special intervention protocols. The first diplomatic contact between Earth and the galaxy has ended. The real challenge is about to begin. The United Nations emergency session buzzes with tension as screens display the Council Armada now assembling in lunar orbit. Supreme Counselor Grak Thul, a towering insectoid with gleaming carapace, addresses Earth's leaders with mandibles clicking in barely contained frustration. Your species shows remarkable potential. His translated voice echoes through the chamber. But the galaxy operates by rules established before your ancestors crawled from the oceans. Accept our guidance or remain isolated until you perish. Secretary General Aminata Diallo rises from her seat, her ceremonial robes catching the light. My distinguished colleague from beyond the stars speaks of rules. On Earth, we have learned that rules should serve life, not constrain it. At the back of the chamber, Chinese quantum physicist Dr. Lai Wei slits General Zhang a tablet showing completed calculations. The general's eyes widen slightly. Perhaps, Zhang interrupts, stepping forward uninvited. The counselor would care to observe tomorrow's solar research satellite launch, a modest demonstration of human potential. Grak Fool waves a dismissive limb. We have monitored thousands of primitive launches. What the Council doesn't realize, the satellite contains Earth's first reverse-engineered version of the Council's own subspace communication technology, built in 3 months instead of the predicted 50 years. As the Council delegation departs, Alina catches Zhang by the arm. You're accelerating the timeline. We agreed to keep our progress hidden. The General's expression remains impassive. Their fleet grows daily. If they decide on military intervention, we need allies. The satellite is our only hope of contacting potential sympathizers. Later that night, in the secure underground facility beneath Geneva, Alina watches as technicians prepare the launch vehicle. The satellite itself looks unassuming, deliberately so. Council scans would detect only conventional materials, nothing to suggest the crystalline core harvested from the communications array left behind during the first contact. Dr. Lai adjusts the final calibrations, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. The beauty of their technology is its simplicity, she explains. They've used the same communication protocols for millennia. No encryption, no security. Why bother when no one questions your authority? Alina studies the schematic. Will it reach far enough? Lai smiles. Their nearest subject world is 10 light-years away. This signal will reach 20. The satellite launches at dawn under the watchful eyes of Council observers. Their reports note only a primitive fission rocket carrying basic solar monitoring equipment. 6 hours later, when the satellite clears Earth's magnetosphere, Dr. Lai activates the hidden transmitter. The message is simple. We are Earth. We have declined Council membership. We seek independent allies. In the Council flagship, alarms blare as unauthorized transmission signatures bloom across their sensors. Grak Fool studies the energy pattern with disbelief. Impossible, he hisses. This technology is restricted to 5th-tier membership. Earth is pre-registry. His communications officer, a Mrelith with shimmering scales, responds with uncharacteristic hesitation. The signal pattern is crude but functional. They bypass 3 development stages. Grak Fool's compound eyes narrow. Trace the transmission target. Multiple targets, Supreme Counselor. The signal is broadcasting to 17 distinct coordinates. Which coordinates? The Mrelith officer's fins quiver in what might be interpreted as amusement. Every member world, and 12 non-member systems with known resistance elements. Grak Fool's mandibles snap together in agitation. Recall Ambassador Zorthal. The humans are more dangerous than we assessed. They do not merely reject our authority, they challenge it. Across vast interstellar distances, quantum particles entangle as Earth's message propagates. On worlds that have known only Council domination for thousands of years, communication officers stare at their screens in disbelief as an unregistered species dares to announce itself to the galaxy. The cosmic chess game has begun. Elena slips through the rain-slicked streets of New Delhi, her identity masked by the crowds celebrating Diwali. The Council surveillance drones overhead are watching for official movements, not a woman in a sari carrying sweets. Inside the converted warehouse, she finds an impossible collaboration. Engineers from 23 previously rival nations working in seamless harmony. Dr. Vikram Patel, leading India's quantum propulsion team, demonstrates the fusion reactor that shouldn't exist for at least 70 years according to Council development timelines. How did you solve the containment field issue? Elena asks, amazed. We didn't. Russian physicist Dr. Sokolov interjects, looking up from his workstation. Council races all use symmetrical energy distribution because their mathematics evolved that way. Human mathematics embraced asymmetry centuries ago. Sometimes, the unsolvable problem is simply the wrong problem. Meanwhile, in low Earth orbit, the first human stealth vessel completes its shakedown cruise, invisible to Council sensors. Captain Maya Rodriguez watches Jupiter rise over Earth's curve, her ship crawling with maintenance robots of human design. Smaller, less efficient, but exponentially more adaptable than Council equivalents. Begin Protocol Wildfire, she orders. Let's make some friends. The experimental ship's engines flare briefly before engaging the reverse-engineered slip drive. The vessel vanishes from local space, leaving only quantum echoes that Council technology registers as background radiation. Back in New Delhi, Elena tours the facility's manufacturing section, where engineers have dismantled a damaged Council drone. Israeli roboticist Dr. Levi points to the intricate components laid out on examination tables. Their technology is elegant but predictable, he explains. Every circuit follows the same design philosophy they've used for thousands of years. Once we understood their fundamental approach, we could anticipate the entire architecture. Elena studies the Council drone's central processor. Can we build our own? Better, Dr. Levi grins. We can improve them. Council technology prioritizes reliability and standardization over innovation. They haven't had to adapt to genuine threats in millennia. In another section, Brazilian linguist Dr. Oliveira works with Korean programmers to crack the Council's communication protocols. Their languages evolved from hive mind structures, she explains. Every concept builds on consensus. They literally have no word for revolution or disruption. These are classified as system errors in their linguistics. Elena checks her secure comlink, receiving updates from 12 similar facilities around the globe. Humanity has become united in purpose as never before. Ancient rivals now share breakthroughs freely, recognizing that species survival trumps national advantage. How soon until the first defense grid is operational? She asks the project coordinator. 3 weeks for basic coverage. The Council expects we'll need decades to develop planetary shields. They don't understand how humans respond to existential threats. At the United Nations headquarters, Secretary General Diallo receives the first responses to Earth's subspace broadcast. Most are automated warnings from Council systems about unauthorized communications, but 3 contain embedded data packets that Council sensors missed. Technical specifications and tactical weaknesses from anonymous sources within subject species. They're watching us, Diallo tells her advisors. Some have been waiting millennia for someone to challenge the Council's authority. On the Council homeworld, the Oversight Committee convenes an emergency session. For the first time in recorded history, a fissure appears in their consensus. Elder Ashirka representatives counsel patience, noting that humans display adaptation patterns unlike any previously encountered species. Militant factions demand immediate intervention before the contamination spreads. Unbeknownst to them, the contamination has already begun. The seeds of doubt have been planted in a carefully managed galactic order, and humans are working through the night to ensure they take root. On the gas giant Helios 9, Ambassador Kirvex of the Zephyrian Collective listens with growing interest as Captain Rodriguez outlines her proposition. The Zephyrians, gaseous beings contained in elaborate mechanical bodies, have provided the Council with exotic atmospheric compounds for millennia, receiving minimal technology in return. The Council claims all members are equal, Rodriguez says, floating in the specialized chamber that allows Kirvex to exist partially in natural form. Yet your species has been processing atmospheric compounds for 10,000 years without advancement. The Council determines when species are ready for advancement. Kirvex responds, tendrils of golden gas curling defensively. Rodriguez removes a small device from her suit. This atmospheric synthesizer would double your production capacity while reducing labor by 60%. No strings attached. Just consider Earth an ally when the time comes. As she departs, Rodriguez doesn't see Kirvex connect to the Zephyrian neural network, sharing what just occurred, or the ripple of excitement spreading through billions of gas beings who have known nothing but Council-approved stagnation for generations. On the Council homeworld, alarms begin to sound as unauthorized subspace communications spike across 3 sectors. The Mrelith, aquatic mathematicians who calculate Council hyperspace routes, suddenly request maintenance periods simultaneously across 60 major transit hubs. Supreme Counselor Grak Thul slams his appendage on the control panel, shattering the crystalline surface. How are these primitives coordinating with established species? Our intelligence network detected no prior contact. His intelligence director, a Corzin with light-pulsing crystalline features, responds hesitantly. The humans employed a simple but effective approach. They broadcast technical specifications for improved technologies relevant to each species' specialized function. The Zephyrians received atmospheric processing upgrades. The Mrelith received computational algorithms. The Vexnar received hull-strengthening compounds. They're buying allies. Grak Thul hisses. No, Counselor. They're giving technology freely. Our system is based on controlled distribution of advancements as rewards for compliance. The humans have no such restrictions. Ambassador Zorthal enters the chamber, his silver skin now pale with stress. The humans have made contact with the Ashirka elders directly. They bypassed all diplomatic protocols. This news silences even Grak Thul. The Ashirka are the oldest council species, mysterious and reclusive. For millennia, they have observed council proceedings without interfering. What did the elders tell them? Grak Thul finally asks. Unknown. But the elders have requested a private audience with you, Zorthal responds. They used the ancient emergency protocols. This has not happened in 7,000 years. Aboard the human stealth vessel Prometheus, Captain Rodriguez completes her 5th diplomatic mission in as many days. Her navigation officer plots a course back to Earth. Captain, the communications specialist interrupts. We're receiving a transmission. Well, I'm not sure what it is. The language doesn't match any council records, but it's definitely directed at us. Rodriguez studies the strange patterns on the screen. Can we translate it? Working on it. Wait, there's an embedded visual coming through. The main screen fills with an image of beings unlike any in council records, crystalline structures housing what appear to be clouds of pure energy. The message resolves into English words. Children of Earth, we have watched from the spaces between stars. The council fears what they cannot control. We have remained hidden, waiting for those who might break their pattern. Come to coordinates enclosed. We would speak with those who dare to reject diplomacy. Rodriguez stares at the screen in amazement. Set course for the new coordinates. And inform Earth. We may have found allies even the Council doesn't know exist. Throughout the galaxy, species begin to whisper about the upstart humans. Some with fear, some with hope. But all with the realization that the unquestioned order of millennia has begun to crack. Supreme Commander Vexnar stands on the bridge of the Council flagship Eternal Dominion, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. 100 ships strong, his fleet represents the largest military force assembled in 7 centuries. Primitive species always follow the same pattern. He tells his officers confidently. They posture, then surrender when faced with superior force. Prepare the compliance broadcast. The first sign something is wrong comes when his sensors officer reports confusion. Earth's defensive grid doesn't match any council-recognized pattern. Instead of concentrated planetary shields, thousands of small independently operating satellite clusters surround the planet. When the Council fleet launches its standard electromagnetic pulse to disable planetary defenses, the satellites don't fail. They absorb the energy and redirect it through the network. Impossible, Vexenar whispers as his secondary systems begin failing to localize counterpulses. The second surprise comes when 43 ships suddenly appear from behind Earth's moon. Ships bearing the markings of 7 different species, including rebellious elements from the Mrelith, Corzin, and Zephyrians. The third surprise is the most shocking. Humans don't fight to win. They fight to capture. Boarding parties using adaptive exosuits cut through Council ships with tools designed specifically to bypass Council security. Within hours, Vexenar finds himself face-to-face with Elena Martinez on his own bridge. The Council taught us that superior technology guarantees victory, Elena says, removing her helmet. Humanity's history taught us that determination and adaptability overcome technological gaffes. Vexenar's mandibles click in suppressed fury. This insurgency changes nothing. The Council has ruled for millions of years. Your victory here is meaningless against our full might. Elena smiles. We're not trying to destroy the Council. We're trying to change it. She nods to her communications officer, who activates a broadcast channel. We're transmitting this conversation across all Council frequencies right now. The view screen splits to show countless worlds receiving the feed, despite desperate censorship attempts by Council authorities. Elena addresses the galaxy directly. To all species under Council rule, today Earth has proven that the mighty Galactic Council can be challenged. Not through superior firepower, but through cooperation and innovation. We don't seek to replace one hierarchy with another. We offer partnership without domination. In the observation deck of the captured flagship, Dr. Raju Patel studies the captive Council officers' reactions. Fascinating. He murmurs to General Zhang. They genuinely cannot comprehend what's happening. Their society has eliminated the concept of systemic change. Zhang nods. That's been their advantage for millennia. And now it's their greatest weakness. Across Council space, the carefully maintained order begins to fracture. On 17 member worlds, previously dormant resistance movements suddenly find their communications unblocked. Council loyalist ships report mysterious system failures as Mrelith technicians quietly implement backdoor code provided by human hackers. On the Ashurka homeworld, the ancient species that founded the Council eons ago convenes their first full conclave in 10,000 years. Elder Moktera addresses his kind. We created the Council to end the chaos of the early galaxy. We sought perfect order, perfect stability. What we created instead was perfect stagnation. These humans, these brilliant, chaotic humans, may save us from our greatest mistake. Back on the captured flagship, Vexenar watches in disbelief as Elena's team efficiently repurposes Council technology. Humans swarm through his vessel, asking questions about systems his crew has operated but never truly understood for generations. Your species will regret this, he tells Elena. You cannot comprehend the forces you've unleashed. Elena studies him thoughtfully. Perhaps, but humanity has always been better at surviving chaos than imposing order. And from what we've seen of your Council, the galaxy could use a little creative destruction. The footage of Supreme Commander Vexenar's surrender plays throughout Council space, despite frantic censorship attempts. In the Great Assembly Hall on Sendrox Prime, the Council splinters into shouting factions as millennia of unquestioned authority evaporates. Ambassador Zorthal, once the voice of Council tradition, now stands before his peers advocating the unthinkable. The humans have shown us our own stagnation, he declares over the tumult. Our greatest fear was chaos, yet in our fear of disorder, we created something worse, absolute stasis. Elder Moktera of the Ashurka, oldest of all Council races, rises slowly from the meditation pod where he has observed proceedings for centuries without comment. I have witnessed 12,000 years of this Council's rule. His ancient voice silences the chamber. In that time, we have added merely 17 species to our number and advanced our technology by incremental measures. The humans advanced centuries in mere years. Their chaos breeds creation. Supreme Counselor Grak Thul's mandibles click furiously. You speak of creativity, but what of stability? What of the order we've maintained? Before the council, the galaxy burned with 1,000 conflicts. And after the council, Mok'Tera responds, the galaxy became a museum, preserved, catalogued, unchanging. On 100 worlds, ordinary citizens absorbed this revelation. Council-approved history taught that stability was the highest virtue. Now they glimpse an alternative, the exhilarating possibility of unpredictable growth. Across council space, ships begin disappearing from monitored lanes. Planet-bound species launch unauthorized satellites. The carefully managed order of millennia unravels not through violence, but through millions of individual acts of self-determination. Elena Martinez stands in Earth's hastily established embassy on Xendrox Prime, facing Zorthal across a table constructed to accommodate multiple physiologies. Once adversaries, they now work to craft something unprecedented. Your proposal, Zorthal says, studying the document before him. This interstellar cooperative. It lacks hierarchical clarity. Who would lead such an organization? No one species would lead, Elena explains. That's the fundamental difference. Leadership would rotate. Decisions would require consensus. Inefficient, Zorthal notes. Slow, potentially chaotic. Yes, Elena agrees, but inclusive, adaptive, and voluntary. The ambassador's 6 eyes blink in sequence. A gesture Elena has learned indicates deep consideration. For 12,000 years, I believed absolute efficiency was the goal of civilization. You propose that efficiency might sometimes be the enemy of progress. Earth's history suggests that uncomfortable truth, Elena replies. Our greatest advancements often emerged from our greatest disagreements. On the captured Council flagship, now rechristened New Horizon, Dr. Lai Wei leads a mixed team of human and alien scientists exploring the vessel's technology. What they discover confirms her theories. Council technology isn't advanced beyond human comprehension. It's simply been optimized along different pathways. Their drive systems prioritize reliability over speed, she explains to General Zhang. Their weapons emphasize control over power. Every design choice reveals their fundamental philosophy, stability at all costs. Zhang studies the modified engine core where human improvisations have already increased efficiency by 22%. How much of their technology can we adapt? That's not the right question. Lai smiles. The right question is, how much of their technology can we improve? Across 17 sectors, the rigid structures of Council authority continue to fracture. Not through revolution or violence. Those concepts the Council understood and had contingencies for, but through something far more dangerous, inspiration. Species that had accepted their designated roles for millennia suddenly question, innovate, collaborate. The careful categorizations that defined galactic society for eons dissolve as races discover capabilities the Council never encouraged them to explore. In the Great Assembly, Mok'Tera watches the proceedings with ancient eyes that now hold something long absent. Elena stands in Earth's first permanent embassy on Xendrox Prime, watching ships from 30 different species dock at the station outside her window. 1 year ago, this would have been impossible. Council regulations restricted multi-species gatherings to prevent cultural contamination. The Corzin ambassador, a crystalline being who communicates through light pulses, approaches with news. Their scientists, collaborating with human quantum physicists, have developed an entirely new form of faster-than-light travel that doesn't require the Mrelith-calculated routes the Council controlled for millennia. My species spent 4,000 years perfecting crystal harmonics for Council communication systems, the ambassador's translator conveys. Working with humans, we repurposed that knowledge for propulsion in 3 months. Similar breakthroughs emerge weekly. The aquatic Mrelith, freed from Council restrictions, reveal mathematical concepts they've hidden for centuries. The Zephyrians, combining their atmospheric manipulation with human meteorological science, develop weather control technologies that can terraform hostile planets. Dr. Lai Wei, working with scientists from 7 species, stands before the first successful dimensional portal, something the Council declared theoretically impossible. She smiles at the HFY observer documenting the achievement. The Council sought perfect answers, she explains. Humans are comfortable with imperfect solutions that work anyway. On Earth, the integration of alien technologies transforms society in unexpected ways. Medical advances from the Veltraxian hegemony, combined with human genetic research, eliminate most diseases. Relevant mathematical concepts revolutionize Earth's information systems. Knowledge flows freely between worlds for the first time in galactic history. In what was once the Council's restricted archives, Alina meets with former Supreme Counselor Grak Thule, now serving as historical advisor to the Transition Authority. The once imposing insectoid seems diminished, his carapace dulled with age. "You've destroyed a system that maintained peace for millennia," he says without rancor. Was that worth the chaos that followed? Alina gestures toward the viewing portal where ships from dozens of species move in complex, seemingly chaotic patterns. Is it truly chaos, Counselor? Or just a complexity your system never allowed? Both, perhaps. Grak Thule admits, I still believe structure is necessary. But I can see that our structure became ossified. That's why the new Confederation includes your voice too. Alina replies, balance between order and innovation. That's what we're striving for. On the frontier world terminus, Captain Rodriguez oversees the first joint human-alien settlement. Species that once knew each other only through Council-approved interactions now work side by side. Cultural exchange creates hybrid art forms, philosophies, and technologies that would have been censored under the old regime. The most remarkable thing, Rodriguez tells her Zephyrian counterpart, isn't how different we all are. It's how quickly we've learned to communicate despite those differences. The Zephyrians' gas form pulses in their containment suit, their version of laughter. The Council taught that differences were dangerous. They never considered that differences might be complementary. In a research facility orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Patel documents the rapidly evolving galactic society. His anthropological studies reveal something unprecedented. Species that evolved on different worlds, under different suns, with different biological imperatives are finding common ground not in sameness, but in mutual respect for their differences. The Council sought uniformity. He records in his observations, humanity introduced the radical concept that diversity itself might be a strength rather than a weakness to be managed. Across the galaxy, a renaissance explodes into being, not a human renaissance, but a pan-species flowering of long-suppressed potential. And at its center stands Earth, not as conqueror or ruler, but as catalyst. 5 years after rejecting Council membership, humanity hosts the inaugural Galactic Confederation Summit in the massive orbital station Unity. Representatives from 38 species fill the Grand Chamber, including former Council loyalists now embracing change. Alina, serving as Earth's ambassador to galactic affairs, takes a moment alone before addressing the Assembly. On a small display, she reviews humanity's journey. From the first defiant refusal to the astonishing present, where Earth ships can reach Council homeworlds in hours instead of months. She steps onto the central platform, surveying the extraordinary gathering of beings. Some float in specialized atmosphere chambers, others shimmer as projected light, while still others occupy robotic avatars housing consciousnesses too alien for direct interaction. 5 years ago, the Council offered us a carefully planned path to the stars. Alina begins. Humanity chose to forge our own path instead, not out of arrogance, but because our species has always understood something vital. True progress comes not from perfect order, but from the creative friction of different minds working together as equals. The HFY Elder, now serving as chief historian of the new Confederation, activates his ancient voice amplifier. For millennia, we believed chaos must be contained, he tells the Assembly. Humans taught us that chaos, properly channeled, creates wonders order could never imagine. By rejecting our diplomacy, humans sent our Council into chaos. Creative, magnificent chaos that has advanced our collective civilizations more in 5 years than the previous 5,000. As the summit unfolds, diplomatic protocols developed over centuries give way to something more genuine. Species that once communicated through rigid formalities now engage in direct, honest exchange. The Quarzin and Relith, ancient rivals under council rule, present a joint proposal for new educational exchanges. The Zephyrians offer their atmospheric expertise to terraform worlds for species previously confined to single planets. In a quiet moment between sessions, Ambassador Zorthal approaches Elena. His silver skin has new markings, symbols of his species' cultural renaissance. "When we first met," he says, "I believed I was offering your primitive species a gift, the chance to join our perfect galactic society. I now understand that we needed you far more than you needed us." Elena smiles. "Not more. Differently. The galaxy needed both our perspectives, your experience, and our fresh eyes. That's the point of the Confederation. No single approach has all the answers." As the summit concludes, Dr. Lai Wei presents the culmination of 5 years of cross-species research, the first truly collaborative technology in galactic history. Created by scientists from 12 worlds working as equals, the quantum communication network will allow instantaneous connection between all Confederation worlds, without the central control the Council always maintained. Outside the station, ships from across the galaxy form a spectacular light display above Earth, a symbol of the new order where no species rules, but all contribute. Humanity's greatest gift to the stars wasn't technology or military might, but something far more precious: the courage to embrace uncertainty as the true path to growth. General Zhang, now serving as Earth's defense coordinator, stands beside Elena watching the vessel formations. "Do you ever regret saying no that first day?" he asks quietly. Elena watches the intricate dance of ships, each representing a civilization with its own history, biology, and perspective, all now moving in harmony without surrendering their unique traits. "Not for a moment," she replies. "Sometimes the most diplomatic action is to reject diplomacy altogether." In the vast darkness between stars, countless civilizations that once lived in isolation or subjugation now reach toward each other, creating connections the Council never permitted. The galaxy sings with possibilities that order alone could never produce, a symphony of stars, playing together in beautiful, productive chaos.